Hey everyone, welcome back to Quarantine Cooking with your host, Chef Bobbeh, King, Lord, Emperor, Chef Bobbeh, Supreme Cook Man of the world. Today we're cooking a steak, and I'm just going to jump right into it this time. Alright, we'll start with the ingredients. Minced onions. I don't know how much. Looks like about as much as is able to cover the steak. 1 clove of garlic, 1 steak. I'm using a tri-tip this time. I'll get into that after I'm done cooking. And we're gonna have some asparagus as a side. So we have the asparagus in here. We have oiled, salted, peppered, and minced garliced the asparagus. Put it on this pan. And we are preheating the oven to 425. You cannot see the numbers on my dial, but trust me, they're there. And in addition to the baking sheet with the asparagus, we're going to use our friend the cast iron skillet. That's what we're going to cook the onions and the steak in. One of the most important things, this steak is at room temperature. It's been sitting out for a while. I want it to be room temperature throughout. So in the middle and on the outside. I don't know how long to leave it out. I left it out all day because I knew I was going to eat it. Also, most important thing, second is equal important, same, be good about it. Liberally salt this. All sides of it, all of it, put kosher salt all over the thing, because that's what makes food taste good, the salt. All right, so we've oiled our pan and heated it up to a medium high, and it sounds like it's ready. Actually, I cheated and threw an onion in there already and know that it's ready. So here we go, add the onions. Yeah, baby. Good enough. I should have had a utensil ready to do this, but I'll just old-fashioned way. We don't want these to cook too quickly. We don't want them to burn or anything. So now we'll turn it down, add some Wawa. All right. Let that go for a bit. Turn it down to low. I don't know what I'm doing. Right, these have calmed down. There's no color on them yet, but they're starting to get translucent, which is good. The onions take a while. I don't actually know how long. I always play by eye. I will use the timestamps in this video to find the time and mention that. So I moved it over to a non-stick. It's cooking at a medium temperature now, a little bit hotter than it was before. It's doing fine. I clean this out because all the sugar that onions drop off would have complicated things with the non-stick later. I'm keeping this on a low. Basically, these onions, they're looking okay. We want them caramelized, so we want them to be a nice brownish color. Some of them are turning now, which is good. If you wanted to expedite the process a little bit, you could put a pinch of brown sugar in there to start the caramelization. Don't put too much though, because these aren't dessert onions. We don't want them to be too sweet. We just want them to be cooked onions. I think these are to a point now where I can put the asparagus back in and start the timer again. So I'm going to do that. The oven is preheated, so I'm going to throw the asparagus in there. We want those in there for 12 minutes. Again, 425 oven, 12 minutes on the asparagus. Hey Google, set a timer for 7 minutes, please.
Alright, 7 minutes. Starting now.
There's a reason we did it for 7. I decided to mince some parsley. I took a pinch of it, put it in there. I minced too much of it. Decided to heat the pan up and oil it again. We want this to get, as they call it, ripping hot. So we want a little bit of steam or smoke to come off of it. I don't see any yet, but it's only a matter of time. Because when we put the steak on there, we want it to get a good sear right away. Oh, there's the timer. That means it's time. Okay. So that means these have 5 minutes left, the asparagus, and it's time for me to put the steak on. Hey Google, can you start a 5-minute timer? Steak time. We're gonna grab the steak, and as Gordon Ramsay taught us, lay it away from you. Yes, there you go. And just let it go. Let it go for probably 4 minutes. It depends on the size of your steak and the cut, but you're gonna want a crust to form. So just let it relax there for a while until you start seeing a crust. And so you're going to want it to pull away from the pan without sticking. That's how you know it's time to turn it. That's okay. That's like maybe a tablespoon, a little bit less than a tablespoon. Have this ready. your clove of garlic. That ready too. Because we are going to butter baste this bad boy as soon as the time comes. And we're going to butter baste it with the garlic in there too. You'll see. It'll be really hard to do it filming, but we'll figure it out. All right, looks like it's time to flip it. That's a good crust. Nice and brown, crispy. Just what we're looking for. Go ahead and put the butter. I'd like to put the butter on top at first, let it melt its way down before we start butter basting it. We'll need a spoon for that. Alright, so I turn the heat down a tad. Most of the heat will remain in the cast iron because that's how that works. Just add the butter into here. Then, so you're going to want to tilt the pan, grab it, and scoop it on the top. I can't do that one-handed. I can't tilt the pan and do it. So scoop it, pour it over the top. Butter basting adds a lot of flavor and a lot of richness and a lot of goodness. Also, we'll just drop the whole clove into that grease, and it'll get flavored with it, and it'll be all the better. And why not just throw a little bit of parsley in there too? Maybe that was a bad idea. We'll see. Oh baby. That actually is what I'm talking about. So, a lot happened after I turned the camera off. The timer went off for the asparagus, so that was done. Then the smoke alarm went off because I didn't have the fan on because I was recording. And smoke happens. But we got a beautiful crust on both sides of the tri-tip steak. Took the asparagus out, put it on a plate, put the steak over the top of that, put the onions over the top of that, sprinkled some fresh parsley on it, cracked some fresh pepper on it. Probably should have peppered the steak earlier, but this works too. And we let it rest. That's the important part. If you cut into a steak without letting it rest, the juices will pour out and it won't be as good. So let's take a bite. I don't have a steak knife, so I'm using this again. That's pretty good for an end piece. It's a little more done than I would like for an end piece though. I think that's fine. I don't want it to drip on my keyboard. Tender and delicious. So good, man. So good. Should do a asparagus. My favorite cut of steak is probably ribeye. Ribeye is a good cut of steak, and they know that, so they charge you more for it. Tri-tip roast, or tri-tip steaks, which you can get at some places, is not seen as good of a cut of steak. So you'll get a higher grade of tri-tip for a better price than you would ribeye. So I could go get, like, I could spend $15 to get 2 ribeyes that are pretty good. They're okay. Or I got a package of tri-tip steaks that could feed my whole family. And I got a ribeye for myself for my birthday. And the ribeye was not as good as the tri-tips because the tri-tip is it's hard to explain. I like tri-tips though. They're good. Have another bite. So good. So tender. And juicy. All things that are good. So I'm going to record a talking portion later. But for now, I'm going to enjoy the steak. Thanks for watching. See you in a minute. Hi everybody. It's been a long time since I recorded that steak video. What are we going to talk about today? Probably should have thought of that before I started recording, huh? Let's talk about our feelings. Let's talk about managing our feelings. Being aware of how you're feeling isn't as easy as it sounds. This might be controversial. Not a lot of people will like this. I've heard many people argue with this. Fact is, anytime you feel angry, if you really think about it, you can think of another emotion that you're covering up with the anger. Anger is a surface emotion, and it's covering up guilt, pain, what is it? Guilt, pain, fear, or shame. Just think about it. Like, someone calls you a name, and you get angry at them, and you want to hit them, you know. Sure, you can say, I'm just angry because he said that I was a jerk. But if you really think about it, maybe your feelings are hurt. I don't care what they think. They're not important to me. I'm not hurt by them. It hurts when someone calls you a name or does something, you know, wrong to you, even if you don't like them or you know, you don't think they matter to you, it still hurts when someone is mean. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Maybe you're hurt that someone was so rude, and maybe you're a little bit afraid that you almost got into a car accident because someone else made a mistake. Guilt, pain, fear, and shame sound like weakness, but they're not. They're just feelings, and no feeling is inherently bad as long as you know how to identify it and deal with it. The reptile brain, that's the part that feels afraid. And you can't control that. You can deal with it, though. You can't control how you feel, you can deal with how you feel, though. Deal with how you feel. Yeah, you know, sometimes you're feeling sad. You know, maybe you lose someone important to you, and you can get angry at that. You can lash out at another loved one or a friend or yourself because you're hurting. And you might be a tough person who doesn't get hurt, but we all get hurt. No matter how tough you are, you get hurt. Kratos, the god of war, gets hurt. He has feelings too. Yeah, we all have feelings, and we're never really... Some of us are lucky enough to be taught how to deal with them and identify them, but it's not like a class, which it should be a class in kindergarten, you know. It's not given the attention that I think it deserves. So there's that. So you just you need some self-awareness. I don't know how to teach you self-awareness. You need to do it yourself. Anytime you get angry or feel anything that you don't maybe deal with in the best way, if there's something in your life that often leads to negative repercussions, maybe next time that happens, stop and think about what you're actually feeling. Because it's really easy to get angry, but it's not always the right choice to get angry. It's important to stop, breathe, focus on the future, then move forward, then deal with your emotions in a healthy and good way. I guess the main point is sometimes your feelings aren't as obvious as they seem to be. Sometimes you're feeling something more than what is on the surface. It takes a lot of self-reflection to figure that out. You have to look inward and really know yourself and know what your signs mean. But you can achieve it, and it makes life a lot easier. It really does, because reacting in an emotional way is natural and is the easiest thing to do, but that isn't always the best thing to do. It can lead to some pretty bad things. But if you learn to control your emotions instead of letting your emotions control you, then they stop being harmful. They can even be an asset. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying, and that's all any of us can do. Anyway, if you want to hear more about this, maybe I should read a little bit about it before talking. But this is just the ending of another thing. So, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to share, like, subscribe. Cook a steak. Control your feelings. Leave a comment. Just have a great day, and have a great life, and enjoy this quarantine as best you can. Have a good one, everyone.